Whether you're working underneath a vehicle or just out in the dark, headlamps come in really handy. So the question is this $20 headlamp just as good as the one that cost over $200? Well, let's find out. In the first test, we'll compare the brightness of the flashlights. Then we'll see how hot the flashlights become. We'll see which headlamps come with poor quality batteries. We'll also test headlamp durability. At a price of only $18, the least expensive headlamp we'll be testing is made by MIOISY. Up to 20,000 lumens max, we're going to test that. Includes a battery life indicator. They claim the headlamp has 4 to 8 hours of long-lasting power. Includes a USB charging cable. All the headlamps we'll be testing include rechargeable batteries. The MIOISY does not have removable batteries. If you use a headlamp while laying on your back under a vehicle, the battery will probably become uncomfortable. And the MIOISY headlamp is made in China. Weight is sometimes an indicator of quality, and the MIOISY weighs just over 150 grams. The marks on the wall are 1 foot apart, and the wall is 4 feet wide. And the MIOISY is positioned 4 feet from the wall, and the hotspot, which is the brightest part of the beam, is about 1 foot wide. The spill, which is the peripheral light around the hotspot, looks pretty sloppy with rings and dark spots. It's very dark outside, and the MIOISY is only offering about 15 feet of good visibility. I spoke with a photometric device supplier and received a quote for $22,000 for a 20-inch integrating sphere. The Torque Test channel also received a crazy expensive estimate and purchased a tester like this one, which is accurate enough for comparing the headlamps. The top number in the tester is the total number of lumens, which is a total light output. The bottom number is the candela, which is the light intensity measured in one spot using the headlamp's brightest beam of light. I'll use the candela measurement to determine how far the light will broadcast or throw. More on that later in the video. And the MIOISY advertises 20,000 lumens, but it barely made it to 239. When LED lights heat up, they lose their brightness. The official testing standard calls for measuring the lumens at 30 seconds. And at 30 seconds, the MIOISY is down to 199 lumens. Most people need a headlamp that will provide bright light for more than 30 seconds. And the MIOISY is down to 133 lumens after just 15 minutes. And the MIOISY is staying relatively cool after 15 minutes at around 97 degrees Fahrenheit. At a price of $20 is this ODEAR brand. It's supposed to deliver 40,000 lumens. We're going to test that. The ODEAR does not have removable batteries. They claim you'll be able to see 500 yards away. It's rated for IPX5, waterproof and durable. The ODEAR is made in China. I think they named this the ODEAR because that's exactly what people say when they see you wearing this thing. And it's 164.15 grams for the ODEAR. And the camera is set up to automatically adjust for bright light so that we're not completely blinded. And the ODEAR is a spotlight and has a very bright hotspot. This build just isn't offering much light. At 75 feet, the ODEAR spotlight adds a lot of light to a very small area. And the ODEAR is only at 315 lumens, now at 309 at 30 seconds. 288 lumens at 15 minutes, and it's not too hot at around 80 degrees. At a price of $29 is this Lepro brand. Detachable headlamp with a 2,200 mAh battery. They claim it delivers 1,000 lumen. They claim it has a 4-hour charging time with up to 10 hours of use. Super bright 500-foot flashlight beam. It's supposed to have exceptional illumination up to 500 feet. And the Lepro is made in China. And the Lepro weighs 153.07 grams. The Lepro has a pretty bright hotspot compared to the spill. And the Lepro is doing by far the best yet at offering a combined focused and broad beam that's offering decent visibility of a broad area that's 75 feet away. And the light tester agrees that the Lepro is more than twice as bright as the ODEAR at just over 670 lumens and 653 at 30 seconds. It's down quite a bit at 15 minutes at 496, and it's a little bit warm at 95 degrees. At a price of $29 is this Zmoon brand. They claim 100,000 lumens and the battery is supposed to provide light for 40 hours. It's supposed to have a 50-watt high-power headlamp that emits amazingly high brightness. And the Zmoon is made in China. And the Zmoon is by far the heaviest yet at 380.46 grams. And the Zmoon has an adjustable lens that allows for a narrow, intense beam or a broad, less intense light. At a medium zoom, the light offers about 40 feet of good visibility. At 75 feet, the focus beam is offering great visibility. And the Zmoon is over 99,000 lumens below its rating at only 812 initially and 785 lumens at 30 seconds. And the Zmoon is down to 661 lumens at 15 minutes and is by far the hottest yet at 154 degrees. At a price of $30 is this Danforce brand. It's rated for 1,080 lumen, zoomable IPX54, IPX45 water, dust, and damage resistance. They claim it has a 5,000 mAh battery. And the Danforce is made in China. And it's just under 265 grams for the Danforce. The Danforce does have a zoom, but the lens is causing rings and has an inconsistent appearance. Around 25 feet of visibility with the medium zoom, and the focus zoom is barely adequate for 75 feet. And the Danforce is at 334 lumens and 322 after 30 seconds. 221 at 15 minutes just isn't very much light, and the Danforce is a little bit warm at around 109 degrees. At a price of $33 is this Bud K brand. They claim a max of 90,000 lumen. They claim up to 800 meters of distance. USB charging and IPX6 waterproof. The batteries are rated for 1200 milliamp hours. They claim a working time of up to 10 hours of light on low. In order to power up the headlamp has to be tilted down in order to access the power button. The Bud K is made in China, and it's 371.59 grams for the Bud K. And the Bud K has some weird stuff going on with the focus position. The broad beam does look a lot more uniform, and the Bud K is lighting up the fence line in the trees at around 75 feet away. The focus beam is doing well, but there's a visible X from the lens. And the Bud K is by far the brightest light at 1,221 lumens, and 1,135 at 30 seconds is still pretty bright. And the Bud K must have overheated, and it's down to 439 lumens at 15 minutes, and it's around 105 degrees. At a price of $40, is this Amaker brand. They claim this thing makes 900,000 lumens. Irradiation distance up to 3,280 feet or 1,000 meters. They claim that high brightness can be used for 10 hours. It's supposed to be IPX7 level waterproof, and the Amaker headlamp is made in China. And the Amaker weighs 396.91 grams. Some weird stuff going on with the Amaker in the focus position, but the broad zoom is looking pretty good. Using a medium zoom, the Amaker is providing decent visibility at around 75 feet. And the Amaker is the brightest yet at 1,614 lumens and 1,503 at 30 seconds. The Amaker dropped to 528 lumens at 15 minutes, and it's around 99 degrees. At a price of $49, is this NEBO brand. Features a 1500 lumen turbo mode, impact resistance, and IPX7 waterproof. It's supposed to have a 3,200 milliamp hour battery. The battery does have to be removed in order to charge it. And the NEBO is made in China. And it's 164.17 grams for the NEBO. And the NEBO offers a pretty smooth transition from the hotspot to the spill. And the NEBO is by far the brightest light, and it's offering very good visibility well beyond the fence line. And 2081 is by far the brightest yet, and it's dropped to 1,985 after 30 seconds. Just like some of the previous lights, the NEBO won't stay in the brightest setting due to the heat, and it's down to 329 lumens at 15 minutes. It's a little bit warm at 102 degrees. At a price of $50, is this Sofirm brand. They claim 2,700 lumens. It's supposed to run for 26 hours on low, 8 hours on medium, and 2 hours on high. To access the USB charging port, you have to remove the side cover. And the battery is rated for 3,000 milliamp hours. IPX8 water resistant. It's also supposed to be impact resistant. And the Sofirm is made in China. And the Sofirm weighs 169.43 grams. And the Sofirm's light pattern looks similar to the NEBO's, but it's not nearly as bright. And the Sofirm is at 1,563 lumens, and it's really lost a lot of steam at 1,115 at 30 seconds. And the Sofirm is down to 637 at 15 minutes, and it's pretty hot at 126 degrees. At a price of $53, is this Wurkkos brand. It's supposed to deliver 4,000 lumen. It's supposed to illuminate objects up to 785 feet away. The previous headlamps have 18650s, this one has a 21700. The battery is rated for 5,000 milliamp hours. The main body of the flashlight does have a charging port. It's supposed to be waterproof with an IP67 rating. And the Wurkkos is made in China. The Wurkkos weighs just over 211 grams. And the Wurkkos has a little bit more of a center hotspot than the Sofirm. The Wurkkos offers pretty good visibility at 75 feet. And 2,330 lumens is the brightest yet, and the Wurkkos dropped to around 2,000 at 30 seconds. And the Wurkkos is overheated, and it's down to 474 lumens at around 15 minutes, and it's a little bit hot at around 114 degrees. At a price of $55, is this Millertech brand. It's supposed to deliver 1,800 lumens. Built-in fuel gauge. It's supposed to have a high-capacity Millertech lithium-ion battery. The battery is rated for 3,500 milliamp hours. The max runtime is 2.5 hours. And the Millertech is made in China. And it's 125.3 grams for the Millertech. The Millertech's hotspot is significantly brighter than the spill. And the Millertech isn't nearly as bright as several of the other brands. And 1,132 lumens and 1,106 at 30 seconds. And the Millertech is at 543 lumens at 15 minutes and is pretty hot at 127 degrees. At a price of $81 is this Coast brand. They claim the Coast delivers 2,075 lumen. They claim a 36-hour max runtime. The battery is rated at 4,000 milliamp hours. They claim it has two powerful beams that transition into one with no halos or hotspots. Bullseye spot beam sends a sharp ray of light. And the Coast is made in China. And the Coast weighs 225.59 grams. And the Coast is very bright, and it does have an adjustable lens. And the Coast is delivering visibility well beyond the fence line while also offering a pretty broad beam of light. The Coast exceeded its 2,075 lumen rating at 2,373 and 2,164 at 30 seconds. However, it did overheat quickly, and it automatically lowered the power setting on the light to only 210 lumens at 15 minutes. The Coast is pretty hot at 132.2 degrees Fahrenheit. At a price of $81 is this Olight brand. Right-angle waterproof flashlight. It's supposed to have a maximum output of 2,500 lumens. Waterproof and impact resistant with an IPX8 rating. It has a 21700 battery that's rated for 4,000 milliamp hours. The Olight is made in China. and is 220.13 grams for the Olight. The Olight has a pretty broad light beam and not nearly as much light as the Coast. The Olight has a self-dimming feature when the light is placed close to an object, making it difficult to get an accurate measurement. It's around 424 lumens at 15 minutes and 91 degrees Fahrenheit. At a price of $100 is this Nitecore 8C68. It's supposed to deliver 2000 lumen. Fast charge USB-C charging port. It's supposed to be an 8 amp battery that delivers 3500 milliamp hours. And the Nitecore is made in China. And the Nitecore weighs just over 169 grams. And the Nitecore has a pretty powerful hotspot and a pretty powerful spill as well. And the Nitecore is really lighting up the fence line and the trees nicely. It's doing better than its 2000 lumen rating at 2165 and 2115 at 30 seconds. However, it overheated and really dropped off at 271 lumens at 15 minutes, and it's around 122 degrees. Also at a price of $100 is the Zebralight, waterproof to IPX8. And the Zebralight did not come with a battery. The Zebralight is made in China. And the Zebralight is extremely light at only 127.94 grams. The other flashlights have a daylight bright color, but the Zebralight is pretty yellow and has a pretty broad hotspot. And the Zebralight just doesn't seem nearly as bright as many of the other lights. 713 lumens at the start of the test and 710 at 30 seconds. However, at 15 minutes, the Zebralight is holding up well at 693 lumens. It's pretty hot at 125 degrees. At a price of $110 is this Princeton Tec brand. The Princeton Tec is rated for 550 lumens, IPX7 water resistance, and 12 hours of burn time. IPX7 lights provide waterproof integrity down to 1 meter for up to 30 minutes. At close range, the wide beams simulate normal daylight conditions. The Princeton Tec is made in USA, and the Princeton Tec weighs 262.66 grams. And the Princeton Tec offers several light settings. Using the most focused and powerful beam, the Princeton Tec isn't nearly as powerful as many of the other lights. The Princeton Tec is rated for 550 lumens, and it did better than advertised at just over 700 at the start of the test and just under 700 at 30 seconds. It's now at 632 lumens at 15 minutes, and it's around 130 degrees. At a price of $121 is this Fenix brand. They claim it delivers 2,700 lumens, capable of lighting objects 251 yards away. They claim it takes 4 hours to fully charge and can run for 48 hours on low mode. Rated IP68 waterproof. It has a 21700 battery rated for 5000 milliamp hours. And the Fenix is made in China. And it's 207.71 grams for the Fenix. And the Fenix has a very powerful focus beam and a pretty powerful broad beam as well. If the boogeyman was up in that tree, we would definitely see the boogeyman with the Fenix. This thing is impressive. And 2,953 lumens is better than its 2,700 rating at the start of the test. However, it didn't quite meet its rating at the 30-second mark at 2,187. And 1,216 lumens at 15 minutes is the brightest yet, and it's pretty hot at 114 degrees. At a price of $210 is this Ledlenser brand. It's supposed to deliver 4,000 lumens. They claim it'll run for 3.5 hours at 1,800 lumens. Includes individual flood and spot beams to combine to provide an incredible illumination. You can connect to your phone through a Bluetooth connection. The Ledlenser is made in China, and the Ledlenser weighs just over 400 grams. And the Ledlenser's hotspot is a little bit out of center, and the hotspot is pretty narrow. The Ledlenser offers a great combination of a powerful focus beam and a bright broad beam as well. And the Ledlenser is way below its 4,000 lumen rating at 1,878 at the start of the test and 1,854 at 30 seconds. At 15 minutes, it's at 971 lumens. It is pretty hot at 124 degrees. And the Fenix is by far the brightest light as soon as it's powered up at 2,953 lumens. Coast and Wurkkos also perform very well at over 2,300 lumens. LED lights can overheat quickly and lose their brightness. At 30 seconds, the Fenix is still the brightest at 2,187 lumens. After 15 minutes on the highest setting, the Fenix is the brightest at 1,216 lumens. Ledlenser's at 971 and Zebralight 693. Battery quality is a huge deal when it comes to flashlights. I've placed the 18650 batteries on the charger analyzer. Now that the batteries are fully charged, let's measure their capacity. I'll drain the batteries at 1 amp of current. The Lepro's battery is advertised at 2,200 milliamp hours, and it did better than advertised at 2,564. That's actually pretty good for a budget headlamp. The Zmoon is rated for 3,000, and it came up a little bit short at 2,821 milliamp hours. The Bud K is rated for a pretty sad 1,200 milliamp hours. Even though it did meet its rating, 1,217 milliamp hours is absolutely awful for an 18650 battery. And the Amaker gets a C as it came up over 600 milliamp hours short of its 3000 milliamp hour rating. And the Sofirm is rated for 3000 milliamp hours and it surpassed its rating. The Wurkkos is the only 21700 that'll fit in this tester and it came up just a little bit short of its 5000 milliamp hour rating. The Millertech is rated for 3500 and it made it to 3238 milliamp hours. The Nitecore is also rated for 3500 and it's right at 3363 milliamp hours. And the NEBO is rated for 3200 and it did better than its rating at 3267. I have 3 of the 21700 cells that are too large for the charger analyzer, so I'm going to have to use a different tester. Just like with the other batteries, I'll set the discharge rate to 1 amp and I'll stop the test when the batteries drop to 2.8 volts. And the test is over, and the Olight, which is rated for 4000 milliamp hours, made it to 3750. Coast is also rated for 4000 milliamp hours, and it barely outlasted the Olight at 3780. And the Fenix is rated for 5000 milliamp hours, and it's out of juice at 4890. I did not test the headlamps, which have internal batteries, or the Zebralight, which did not come with a battery. So the Wurkkos battery came out on top with a capacity of 4927 milliamp hours. Fenix finished in second place at 4890. The top 4 batteries are all 21700 cells. 3 of the headlamps do include 3 batteries per headlamp, which would triple the total milliamp hour capacity for the headlamp. If you want a bright flashlight, you'll want a battery that makes a lot of current with very little voltage drop. The name Ultrafire seems like a terrible name for a battery. So let's put this battery to the test and see how it performs. And the Ultrafire is at 3.25 volts at 3 amps, which is awful. And 4 amps, the Ultrafire is finished at under 3 volts. That's less than 12 watts, which is not enough for some of our flashlights. Let's compare the Ultrafire to the Nitecore's 18650. And the Nitecore is at 3.86 volts at 3 amps. At 4 amps, 3.78 volts, 3.71 volts at 5 amps, and 3.63 volts at 6 amps. And 3.48 volts at 7 amps is almost 25 watts, or more than twice as many watts compared to the Ultrafire. Now we're blowing past 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and finally we're going to stop at 14 amps, and we're still at over 3 volts. That's 42.5 watts compared to only 12 watts for the Ultrafire. Very impressive. After 30 seconds, the Nitecore was at over 2100 lumens using the Nitecore battery. Let's install the fully charged Ultrafire and see how the Nitecore performs with the Ultrafire battery. At 30 seconds, the Ultrafire is down to only 1500 watts. That's 600 watts less than with the quality battery. Wow! I repeated this test for each of the headlamps that have removable batteries. And the Coast came out on top with a maximum current of 18 amps. Olight finished in second place at 17 amps and Nitecore 15. We can calculate the light throw using the brightest part of the beam, which will give us our candela measurement. To sell flashlights, marketers claim some really wild throw distances. When they do the math for their calculations, they use 0.25 lux of illumination. That's not very much light. Assuming a much more realistic object brightness of 10 lux, the Zmoon offers the most throw at 129 meters, Amaker 57 meters, and Danforce 46. Assessing the quality and the brightness of the focus beam is highly subjective. However, the ODEAR, Zmoon, Fenix, and Ledlenser receive the best possible rating of 1. Assessing quality and brightness of a broad beam capability is also highly subjective. The Fenix received the best possible rating of 1. Coast, Nitecore, and Ledlenser received a rating of 1.5. If you're looking for a light for medium width beam capability for decent peripheral lighting, the Fenix did an amazing job offering pretty good visibility at around 150 feet. The Nitecore and Ledlenser also performed well at around 125 feet. Assessing flashlight runtime, the Coast lasted about 9.5 hours on the highest setting. The Princeton Tec lasted 9 hours. However, just about all the lights automatically lowered the brightness in order to avoid becoming destructively hot. Other flashlights like the Fenix stayed very bright and consequently ran out of juice a lot sooner. Another way to look at performance is to consider the total light produced by each light over the total test time. If one adds up lumens at 15 minutes, 1 hour, and every hour until the flashlights died, the Ledlenser topped the list with a total of 4,103 lumens. Princeton Tec finished in second at 3,260 and Fenix 3,131. Comparing just the top 3 brands, the Fenix delivered much more light up front while the other 2 brands delivered less light over a longer period of time. Assessing the comfort of the headlights is highly subjective, and I did take into account a lot of factors. Those factors include things like overall comfort, weight, and whether or not there's a battery behind the head. And the Fenix is the most comfortable headlamp with the best possible rating of 1. Sofirm and Nitecore are also very comfortable with the rating of 1.5. I dropped all the headlamps from 4, 5, and 6 feet onto the concrete floor after the lights had warmed up. All of the headlamps held up just fine except for the Zmoon, which did experience a damaged battery case. So which headlamp is the best? I converted raw scores into an A through F rating to help the results become more meaningful. If you're looking for a headlamp that has an adjustable lens, the Amaker earned A's for brightness, light throw, quality of focus beam, and medium width beam performance. On the other hand, it is pretty heavy and it's a little bit less comfortable than some of the other other headlamps. If you're looking for a more compact flashlight, I really like the Wurkkos for a price of around $53. It has a very good battery at almost 5 milliamp hours and earned A's in most categories. As you might expect, it does have a powerful light which drained a very good battery quickly. If I could only pick one headlamp, I would definitely buy the Fenix. It has a great battery and earned A's in every category except for runtime. As you'd expect, such a bright light will drain a very good battery quickly. I've had tons of requests to test headlamps, and I apologize that it's taken me so long to do this review. All the videos in this channel, including this one, are viewer suggested, so if you have a video idea, I hope you'll take time to leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching, please take care, and look forward to next time.